Okay, hi everybody. I think I've met most of you. If I haven't, I'll be around. We are exhibiting over there, as most of you know. My name's Andrew Ratner. I'm with B&Bcom. Show of hands, how many of you have heard of B&Bcom? Okay, good. And how many of you have never heard of B&Bcom? Don't be afraid, because I thought a couple said you hadn't. I was a little surprised, but hey, you know, what can you do? That's why we're here. So the idea behind my presentation, you can go to the next slide, is kind of to give you an update on B&Bcom, what we have going on, some of our marketing initiatives, and things like that. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about our target audience, give you some data, not too much, opportunities that we see for B&Bs and our partners. We'll talk about content. I've heard that come up several times during the last couple days. You guys probably know by now, content and photos are important. We have an online reservations program, and I'll go over that quickly. And then I'm just going to talk about some of our membership improvements that we've had. And then if we have time for questions, we'll leave that at the end. But I'll try to pick up the pace too, since Alex went over his time. No, just kidding. I had to throw that in there. Sorry, Alex. So our focus for 2015 is real simple. Bring more travelers to our members. As most of you know, B&Bcom is a membership online directory for B&Bs. We exclusively work with B&Bs, and one of our requirements is that you serve a breakfast. I know that came up during the Airbnb part of the thing, so that's a strict requirement for us, since we're called Bed and Breakfast, that our members have to supply some type of breakfast. It can be a continental breakfast, fully cooked breakfast, buffet, but it has to be included with their stay. And our goal is to drive more business to you by improving your content and your distribution and the people that come to our site. We have found that BedandBreakfast.com, it's a pretty good URL, so the people that come to our site usually are people that are interested in B&Bs and have an awareness about B&Bs. So we're not really educating them on what a B&B is. They've come to us because they're looking for an expert on B&Bs. We're also working on improving the innkeeper experience. So we want you as members to have the tools and the resources available to you to maximize your listing. We've also added Saturday customer service. We used to not have Saturday covered, so that was a big deal. So those of you who want to call in on Saturday and get help with a double booking or any kind of situation can call in on Saturdays. We've also updated our listing editor, and our listing editor is basically how you go in and can edit your listing, change your photos, change your description, and we want you to own that because you know your property better than us, and that's where you're going to sell that experience that, like Sean was talking about yesterday. You can go in there and really describe what are the benefits and the experience you're trying to relay to your customers. And then last but not least, I'll talk about this a little bit more, is improving our online reservations program. One of the things that we are real proud of is do you guys even get Wheel of Fortune up here? Okay. I should have thought about that before I came to Canada. You're probably like, so have you all seen our spots on Wheel of Fortune where we have a spot on the wheel? We have a marketing agreement with the Wheel of Fortune we're real proud of. It gets us a lot of exposure because it's the #1 show in price access television. So it's a popular show. A lot of people watch it. 28 million viewers tune in. And what we're going to have is 3 months of spots on the wheel. So if they spin the wheel and stop on the spot, they're going to win a prize to one of our B&Bs. And you can actually see the ones that are on the actual B&Bs that are going to be promoted. Actually, if you go to the next slide, I think this is helpful. We got this review and we wanted to share it with you. This couple actually stayed at this B&B because they found it. We saw it on Wheel of Fortune, and we were like, we want to stay there. So that's kind of the idea behind this marketing, is that people are going to see the B&Bs, hopefully go to our site and look or find the B&Bs. And it's going to help create also brand awareness for the B&B industry. You know, a lot of people in the United States, especially, I don't know about Canada as much, they don't always think of their accommodations of B&B. They think hotel, hotel, hotel. And I think as an industry, we need to do a better job of getting people to have more awareness that B&Bs are an option for them in their market. And I think that's part of our whole industry. So this is going to help create that awareness. So we'll just talk quickly about our target audience. You guys probably are familiar with it. But for us, we find ourselves with the B&B enthusiast because they know our brand, they've been to our website, and 75% of our customers stay at B&Bs at least once a year. 95% want innkeeper interaction. So they want you to be their expert of that area, and they look to you as a resource, and that's probably why they're staying at a B&B versus like a hotel. 64% want unique, interesting, and romantic setting. 59% want to get away from the masses, get away from where everybody else is staying. So they're looking for that uniqueness that a lot of your B&Bs offer. We'll go down to the next slide. Drive. 85% of our customers are going by car, so it's usually a short trip that's less than 300 miles, and 3.1 per year versus 2.1 per year on long trips. Domestic is 4.2 stays per year versus 1 year international visitors coming in. 78% are couples. That can be of all different kinds of couples, but 78% are with a companion. 35 years and older, 75% of our customers are 35 and older. 73% have a college education, and then you can see some of these other stats that are interesting over here. Couple weekend getaways, 56% are weekend getaways. And then 27% are celebrating a special occasion like anniversary or a birthday. Content is king. As you all know, you've probably heard, and you're probably already getting it through your head, content is so important. Photographs are so important. And one of the things that we try to work with our partners on is getting the most and the best photos. And that is a big challenge. How many of you, let me ask, hired a professional photographer to come take a picture of your B&B? That's not enough. That should be more, don't you think? I mean, unless you guys think you're really good photographers. You think you are? No, I just see a lot of innkeepers try to take their own photos, and no offense, some of them are good, and some of them, they're not, that's not their thing. And I think the money you spend possibly on a professional photographer, they just know how to capture things, the lighting, the angles, to really accentuate and highlight the benefits of your property. So if you haven't looked into a professional photographer, I think you should consider it. So much of the content for B&Bs we find does not bring the category to life, and that's why we go back to the whole photograph thing. Some of them are small, boring images, I hate to say. Too many words sometimes on websites we find to be a challenge. You really want to lead with photos and imagery now. As you know, people are using their iPhones and their iPads, and you got to get them quick. And if there's a lot of words, they might go on to the next slide. A lot of us don't highlight the highlights of a B&B. A lot of us don't sell the breakfast part. I think a lot of websites don't talk about your breakfast, or maybe the special menus that you have, or unique items that you serve. Those are things that are going to differentiate you from hotels. So you really need to highlight those things. So this slide, really what we're talking about here is that you just have to make sure all your content is fluid across all different channels. So you want to make sure on bedandbreakfast.com and all the sites you work with, if you work with booking.com and BB Canada, you want to make sure everything on those sites is accurate and that it's presenting you in the best possible way. And I just run across a lot of innkeepers that don't take the time and the energy to make sure their content and the way they look on those sites is accurate. A lot of times it's not. And then B, do you have the best images that you can? So you want to also work with different partners that we work with to come up with theme pages. That's one of the big things that our marketing team is working on. So we're doing, wine properties that are maybe in wine country, or themes like foodies, or targeting people for fall foliage that are looking for maybe an autumn getaway, things like that. So theme your photos. Also seasonality, you can get your photos. So in the fall, put photos that represent the fall. In the winter, put photos that represent the winter. And in the summer, you could use photos that showcase a summer setting, right? So you don't want to, in the middle of the summer, to have a picture of your property covered in snow, right? So seasonality can play, I know, especially with you guys in this region, that can play a big part into your marketing efforts. We spent a lot of time revamping our homepage. If you haven't been to bedandbreakfast.com, go take a look. We really want to lead. These are actual B&B photos that rotate on our site. They're part of our diamond collection. And we've decided to go with photo and make the wording very small, make it very clean and very simple, and then just put our search widget right in the middle. We also, like I mentioned earlier, are really looking at traveler experience, like Sean was talking about. You need to decide what are the experiences you're trying to provide for your customers. And then we want to hear from you. Give us feedback. If you have a theme or an idea, we are now creating pages for those themes, like food and wine, romantic travel, outdoor adventures, travel inspiration guides. We have hired new content people that work for us that are going out there and finding these properties and highlighting them and really selling the experience more than just listing them. So that's a big focus. Another thing, your listing quality matters. On our site, you get a score based on your content and how much of it is accurate and how much you've even filled out. So you really want to have a score that's at least 75% or higher. Obviously, we'd love for you to be 100%. And that means that you have taken advantage of listing all the photos you can, listing your room photos, a description of your breakfast, photos of your breakfast. Things like that are going to help your listing quality and drive people to your site and hopefully to book with you. So make sure you go in and spend the time on any site that you're on and make sure your listing quality is good and that your content is maximized. And a very important area I just want to mention real quick is amenities. A lot of our B&Bs don't take the time to really go through our amenities section and really highlight all of their amenities, and people search now by amenity. So they're going to want to, if you want to go to a B&B that is pet friendly, but you don't have that selected, you're not going to come up in that search criteria because you haven't checked that box, pet friendly yes or no. That's just an example, but you could, if you have a pool, if somebody's looking for a pool and you haven't selected that amenity, we don't know that you have that to come up in the search results. So take the time, especially in the amenities section. Our online reservations program, it's basically like it says, it's an online optional program where we can make your property bookable on our site. It's important, I think, you have to look at online reservations in a pretty diverse setting. You have to, first of all, it's more than just a booking on your website. That's, I think, step one is, how many of you have a booking engine on your website? So somebody can go to your website and make a live reservation. So a lot of you don't have that? Okay. That would be something I would highly recommend because you want people to be able to go to your site and actually make a reservation. There's systems out there. We have a couple Webervations and Reservations, I'll throw a little pitch out there, that we can make accessible, put right on your website. And then from there, once you have a booking for your website, be on the sites that people use and research and book on. So you want to have a diverse online presence. And if it means being on Airbnb, be on Airbnb. But I think you need to look at bedandbreakfast.com, you need to look at booking.com, BB Canada, and you have to have a diverse presence. If you're just on one channel, you're limiting your marketing and exposure. Also, another nice part about getting on some of these larger OTAs is the international presence that they have. I would imagine you get a lot of international visitors in this area, or even Ontario in general, right? Am I wrong? You guys get a lot of international people? So those sites, as you know, are in those countries where it's going to give you that exposure to those international travelers. This slide looks complicated, but basically what it says is people want to book online. As you all have probably heard, 60% of B&B travelers rate online booking as very important or won't book without it. And these are the percentages. The red is only will book online. These are people that have told us in our survey that if you don't have online booking functionality, they're going to the next property. I hear a lot of innkeepers tell me, I want to talk to every customer. I want to talk to every customer. Is there anybody like that wants to talk? Okay, I had this at a conference and an innkeeper said, yeah, but do they want to talk to you? So a lot of people, some people will want to talk to you. Nowadays, people are booking on their cellular devices, their mobile devices, and they want to find and book and be done. There's other people that will call you, and they might have questions, and they might want more of your expertise and to learn more about your property. But there's also those that won't do that. And you're going to lose those, and they're slowly that big piece of the pie is getting bigger and bigger. So we do have an online reservations program. Basically, it gets you on bedandbreakfast.com as bookable, so we can book you right on our site. And then we also have partnerships with larger OTAs, and I'll show you the list here on the next slide. This is just a little bit of, you saw this similar to Sean. I think he might have had the exact same data that on average, a traveler will visit 22 travel-related sites during 9.5 search sessions prior to booking. So they're out there, they're looking at all the different sites, they're Google searching, and they're going to all these different sites before they make a decision. And if you're on all of those channels, they might say, wow, I've seen this B&B multiple times, they must be great. Because I've seen them on all the sites I'm on. They keep coming up, and I see these great photos and all this information about their property, and it slowly gets into their mind that, hey, I should maybe book that property. So the more sites you can be on, the more likely they are to book. Okay, so how travelers search. This is just talking about, do they visit one site? Do they just go to like bedandbreakfast.com or Expedia or any OTA? 12.6% go to one site, they tell us. Do they visit individual B&B sites? Do they go to your website specifically? 13.6% said that that's what they do. But a combination of the both, 73.8%. Again, they're going to multiple channels, and you need to be on as many as you can. Quickly, and I can talk to you guys if you want more specifics about our commission plans, but for bedandbreakfast.com to be bookable on our site, we only charge 8% if you want to allocate all of your rooms, and it's 12% if you want to limit it to certain rooms. Some properties might have 10 rooms, and they only want to maybe sell 2 of those rooms through us. So we charge a little bit higher commission, and then if you give us all of your inventory, we give you a better percentage. We do charge all the credit cards and process the cards, so there's no credit card processing for you. So factor that in. It's a pretty nice program if you're not currently bookable on bedandbreakfast.com. The partners we work with are listed here: Hotels.com, Expedia, Travelocity. We get you listed on Kayak. Kayak's more of a travel search engine, you probably know. So you're not bookable on Kayak, but we have a link on Kayak back to bedandbreakfast.com. We work with Priceline, and we also work with the Sabre Travel Agent Network. The nice thing about a lot of these OTAs, hopefully we'll have Booking.com on here one day. Expedia and Hotels.com and Travelocity now have on their search widget where you can filter out all the hotels and just specifically look for B&Bs. This was a big win for our industry. So you can go to Expedia and say, I just want to see the B&Bs in this city, and it'll just return B&Bs. So this took a lot of fighting to get. It might look like a simple little thing, but it was not easy because let's be honest, these sites are traditionally, we're selling hotels. So that was a big win. So these are a couple of the things I mentioned. There's no credit card processing fees, no payment fees. We do all the management of your account. We connect with different property management software systems, specifically reservations and web reservations, and we just announced Think Reservations we are now connected with. And we're looking to add more of the larger property management systems. We also do now have a way of feeding your rates and inventory to Booking.com and through an automated process. It's just launched last week, so it's brand new. But if you're interested in getting onto Booking.com, or if you're on Booking.com already and you would prefer to just work through us so you don't have to manage a separate extranet calendar, you can do that through us. So I can talk to you about that if any of you are interested in that. So I'll quickly wrap things up by going over some improved tools and communications. And again, if you have any questions, I'll be at my booth. Come by. If something I went over too fast or something like that, let me know. So a couple of the things that we have improved on with our, first of all, we now have a membership newsletter. If you're not getting it, sign up. It really does have a lot of good information. Not only will you get your property statistics, so how many click-throughs how many views from bedandbreakfast.com to your website. You'll have all that analytics. We're also going to have a lot of information on tips and webinars and educational events, regional events, and things like that through our newsletter. So go on to the Innkeeper section and sign up for our newsletter. Also, we do conduct a lot of webinars. We have different educational webinars. I've had a lot of innkeepers come to me and tell me that they really enjoy them, and we're glad to hear that. That's why we do them. And we're doing one about weddings coming up. We're going to do some about online reservations. We're going to do some about certain recipes, helpful tips on how to prepare breakfast, all kinds of webinars. You can go to our site and get a list of all the different webinars we have. And they vary. We're trying to get the times. We used to do them an hour, and people were giving us the feedback, it's too long. You guys are too busy. So we've shortened them to 15, 20, 30-minute webinars where you can go in and get some good information and move on. Let's see, also guest industry experts. So we're going to have some webinars from industry, bed and breakfast industry experts that are going to come on and do the webinars for us. This is just talking about we've improved our home base page. That's when you log on to your bedandbreakfast.com account. It's a lot more, it's cleaner, simpler. Your analytics are going to be the first screen. And we also have improved our listing editor, and that's the system you're going to use to update your listing, your photos, your content, your descriptions, all your amenities. Much easier to use, much more dynamic, and giving you a lot more control of your content and selling your property and your experience. I mentioned the customer service for Saturdays, and I think that's about it. It's my information. I have my cards at my booth, but thank you for your time. Appreciate it.